back to the Diamond Basketball Podcast. I'm Caleb, and there's my good friend Amir. Amir, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. I'm glad to be back. Glad that you guys are with us again for another special episode. Caleb, why don't you tell them what we got going on today?
Well, our plans for today on this episode, we're going to go ahead and go over the proposed NBA start, which the players have to vote on very soon. But even better, we have an interview with a former NBA player. And you'll find out who later on. But let's just go ahead and get right into this new news that came out.
For sure. I'm excited to go into it. For those of you waiting for that interview, stick with us. It's going to be a good one. Let's get straight to it. Caleb.
Yes.
The NBA players are currently voting right now as we speak on what's going to happen with this new season coming up. They're proposing 2 dates. The 2 dates are December 22nd, which is right before Christmas, and the other date is in January on the 18th, which is Martin Luther King Day. And if you look at it, Caleb, we talked about this last week. That December 22nd start date is looking real good. I don't know about you, but I think that one is going to be the one that players are going to accept. It's looking like that's the way it's going to go. However, we don't know yet until the vote happens. Caleb, how do you think that vote's going to go today?
I think it's going to be an overwhelming agree that the December 22nd is the ideal start date. I don't know why, just because of financial implications of waiting until January to do it. I just think you should just start it on December 22nd and run with it.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen what it does when you start later in the season. We had the lockout year probably about, a decade ago, when everyone was freaking out because the NBA was losing a ton of money. And that's kind of the same thing we have here. The proposed start in January has actually been said that it has a lot of implications going on. And we'll get to those implications. We'll get to how that affects it. But let's start with the December date, Caleb. That seems like going to be the one that players are liking, and the NBA has been pushing. Owners have been pushing for this for the past 2 weeks, and the Players Association told players on calls today, according to The Athletic, that the financial ramifications of a December start is a lot larger due to the television networks and league partners that want a Christmas Day start. So pretty much what this means is they know that the Christmas Day start is going to generate hundreds of millions of dollars of additional revenue. According to Bobby Marks, actually, a 50-game season that starts in January could result in the NBA losing $1.6 billion. So how do you feel about this? Do you think that the NBA players are going to agree to that? Or do you think that they're just going to be like, no, there's no way. We got to go with that December date?
They're definitely going to go with that December date. You lose so much money. You lose way more than you gain by starting in January. Sure, you get some extra time off, but hopefully, honestly, by December 22nd, they're already working on their bodies anyways. So I would just go with the December 22nd date.
Well, you seem to be by yourself because LeBron said I'm cherry picking the whole first half of the season.
Who cares what LeBron wants?
Dude, LeBron is not even going to play. Has LeBron ever actually tried in the beginning of the season? No.
No, he doesn't. He pushes himself later on in the year.
Yeah.
Remember playoff mode activated? Remember that whole thing?
Oh, Zero Dark 30 mode?
Yes, that's the thing. And that's why I really don't think that the league or players care that much what he has to say about that.
That is definitely true. As far as that December 22nd date, if they did go back to that, that would make the schedule go to normal. So it would go back to the October through June. How do you feel about the 2 dates? December 22nd, obviously that's only for this year, but we heard a lot of rumors this past few months that the NBA wanted to do a Christmas Day start for years. Doesn't look like they're wanting to go that way. They look like they want to go back to the October date. What do you like on that? Do you like the Christmas Day date, or do you like the fall October date start?
I would rather see it start on Christmas Day. Although I do like more games in a season, but I just think a Christmas Day start, there adds something special to it. You know what I mean?
No.
Yes, you do. Because
No,
listen, well, you know what? You know how last episode we talked about the jerseys? I would like to get back to the jerseys real fast. Why in the world do they not have Christmas Day jerseys anymore?
I actually did not know. I forgot that they stopped that. I remember they used to have them, and players would be very excited to wear them.
Yeah, and it's part of like the gift of Christmas. Like, yeah,
I was
sure, you
always
have
seeing
to
some
play.
horrible jerseys.
The jerseys are really bad.
Well, that's probably why they stopped. Going back to that Christmas Day start, you got me distracted.
Sorry.
No, you're okay. I get it. You're still riled up about NBA jerseys. Speaking of that Christmas Day start, I do not like it. I think the October start is perfect. Um, I feel like the NBA season should start in fall. That's just kind of what we're used to, and
Mm.
I don't think a lot of people really want to watch basketball in the summer.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's cool to have summer basketball and stuff, but it basketball has never really been a summer sport. It's always been more of a fall sport, which I agree with. My thing was if they start on Christmas, I just assumed that it would be a shortened season, which they've been trying to do for a while.
Well, they've been saying that they wanted to do a little bit shorter of a season, which is only 72 games, but that's still going to result in a late finish because we are starting in late December. So there's very little chance that they even get to the point of finishing early or finishing on time as they usually do every year in June. We'll actually go into the December 22nd start date and how that whole run through is going to go in a few minutes. But first, I want to talk about the escrow. The players were informed today that the negotiations surrounding escrow was that the owners pretty much wanted unlimited escrow, which pretty much would give them their full share of the 49% that they own with the league. The league and the players have been pushing back and forth on 35%, 40%. And for the players, they understand that the owners, the whole point of escrow is that makes the team prices continue to rise. With the pandemic going on, a lot of people are worried. Owners are worried that their team values are going to drop. So they want to make sure that the escrow is increased and that it follows with what they are trying to do. So it's going to be tough. I don't. You talked about it last week, Caleb. With Steph's contract, I mean that's going to be a little bit of a cut for these players. Caleb, let's talk about the December 22nd start date.
All right. Okay, I'm down.
I'm going to list each one. You let me know what you think. So December 22nd start date pretty much means December 1st training camp begins, and that would be for 3 weeks. You like that idea so far?
Fine by me so far.
Okay, and then we have 3 to 4 preseason games, kind of the similar thing we had in the past. On top of a 72 game regular season. How you feeling about that?
That's fine by me. I mean, 82 would be preferred, but they have to cut some back. So 72. I mean, you're only losing 10 games. I'm cool with it. Plus, you get the 3 to 4 preseason games, so you're really getting 76 games if you think
Yeah,
about it.
that is actually factual. On top of those 72 games, you're playing 14 back-to-backs in those games. So that's a lot of more back-to-backs. That was actually the highest back-to-back number for a team last year. And I believe, once again, that team was the Kings. But that we won't talk about that.
Where's Sacramento?
25% reduction in travel. Do you like that idea?
Yeah, that's big. I really do like that idea because I know traveling can play a part of the team. I mean, don't they always put out like a thing of what team had to travel the most miles in a season?
Yeah.
And like they keep track of that stuff for a reason. So I think having that huge reduction in travel, it'll be big for a bunch of teams, especially veteran teams, I feel like. Or younger teams because they're not used to the travel grind.
Yeah, like for example, San Antonio. I remember I used to always see the visuals of them doing the rodeo road trip
Oh yeah.
that they have every year. On top of the reduction in travel, you have All Star break, which we talked about this last week. All Star break for 6 days, that would be in May. So normally All Star break is in February. This year it'd be May. Do you think they're going to even have an All Star game? What do you think now, Caleb, that you're seeing this?
I doubt they have an all-star game. I think it'll just be a nice little break for the players just to get rest. And I mean, like how you normally have in a season, but I don't think they're going to have the big events. They might do an all-star game, but I don't know about the events like the 3-point shootout and the skills competition and everything.
Let's talk about how the regular season would end on May 16th. So if this were to continue in December, this would be not normal because we're getting a May 16th deadline that would end versus in April when the NBA season is normally ending. And this part I thought was really interesting. So as soon as the season ends, you have a play-in tournament, Caleb. The play-in tournament is going to be for the seeds 7 through 10. This is something they actually knew. Before they just did the play-in tournament for the 8th seed and the 9th seed. Now they're doing it for 7th, 8th, and 9 and 10. So how do you feel about it?
I love it because it adds like a whole new element of playoff basketball. How many times have we seen teams that are close to the playoffs just, you know what I mean? You wonder what would happen if that 8 seed played that 9 seed one time. Do you remember, I think it was 2017 or 2018, the Timberwolves and Nuggets met up on the last game of the regular season, and the winner got into the playoffs and the loser was knocked out. I think when that game happened, I think they got so many viewers into that one game on ESPN that it like opened their eyes. And I do think moving forward, a play-in tournament is a really, really solid idea. You could recuperate some serious money doing that too.
Yeah, I think that would be a really good idea because you're allowing teams that maybe don't have a chance of going to the playoffs, or maybe they don't think that they do. As a 10th seed, you're giving them an opportunity to still fight for it. I think this is a way you can prevent teams from tanking as much as they normally do.
Yeah, and I mean, and it finally gives the Kings like a fighting chance to get into the playoffs. And I know, as a Kings fan, I know you would love to be able to see that.
So you think all we can resort to is just low seeds? Or you think we're just low hanging fruit?
Well, think about it. The past 2 years, yes. You guys, I mean, you guys were right there. It's just certain stretches mess you guys up. But I think next year, if there is a play-in tournament, I really think the Kings can make a push for it.
I'm actually going to disagree and say if there were a play-in tournament next year, I think that would be the year we wouldn't get into it because I don't see the Kings finishing in the top 10 next season. But again, I hope I'm wrong.
They will. You'll see. They'll be good.
All right,
Well,
let me know that.
maybe not good, but they'll get into one of the play-in tournaments.
We'll make a little side bet on that later on these episodes, guys. Let us know what type of bet we should make because I want to make a good one with Caleb. Moving on, let's talk about the January 18th start. It starts with camp opening up on December 28th. So that's after Christmas, and it's open up for 3 weeks. Same thing, 3 to 4 preseason games. 60-game regular season. Caleb, do you like that a little bit better or no?
No, absolutely not. I mean, it does take down the back-to-backs, so 12 back-to-backs per team, but I would like to see more games than 60. So 72 I feel like it's good, and you're only getting 2 more back-to-back games. I don't know. I like that more.
For sure. They continued the 25% travel in this one as well as the December 22nd one. I can see that being a constant theme regardless because of COVID. I think they're like, no, we're not taking any chances with traveling from, New York to Boston to California to Oregon. And I think they're going to figure that out instead of having teams do that. And then an all-star break on April 9th. Same thing. We don't know what it would be like, but it would be 6 days, just like the other one. It's just April 9th versus early March. And then the regular season would end in June. So, Caleb, that's normally when the playoffs end. These implications means, guess what? It goes into June. That means the playoffs are not ending till late August, around the 21st to the 23rd. That's when it ends. The playoffs would start on June 28th. So, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to really see that working out. I don't see the players voting on that. They still would have a play-in tournament. They still would have a normal playoff schedule. But one of those implications is that it would cost an Olympic appearance for the NBA players.
See, and I think that that's a big part of why December 22nd is the start date for me. I do tend to watch the Olympics. I do enjoy watching, the United States men's basketball team.
You're a proud American.
Well, no, not entirely, but I don't know how NBA players even feel about playing in the Olympics anymore. I know it's been like a trending downward thing, but the thought of Jason Tatum being able to play for Team USA has me excited. But it's not even just that. It's the fact that it doesn't end until late August. That's not – I don't know. You're getting too deep, and then it's going to create like a bigger domino effect where it's just every single year you're just trying to figure out how can we catch up to where we were before. So that's why I think December 22nd is the date for me.
I'm going to go with December 22nd as well. I'll take 2 extra back-to-backs as if I'm playing them. I'll take the 2 extra back-to-backs. I think I'll take the All-Star break in March. I see that as a benefit compared to having that much later is I think that's going to be a detriment to the NBA's longevity as far as going back to where they were. NBA, it's not going to die. It's a growing sport. It's an innovative sport, a progressive sport, and they're getting more and more viewers. I heard an interview yesterday from Vivek Ranadive, owner of the Sacramento Kings. He mentioned that yes, while ratings are down, the NBA has more social interactions. They have three times as much, Caleb, than any other sport combined.
Yeah, that's pretty absurd.
So the fact that they can do that tells me that the future for the NBA is bright. And I think once you add that Christmas Day week where it's just basketball, man, I think you're going to get a ton of people excited.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Luckily for us, Caleb, we didn't get a lockout.
I'm very happy about this.
We would have had to retire, ladies and gentlemen. How do you feel? We would have had to retire after episode 4.
And that would be a bummer.
Really? I don't think so. Because you know what? Caleb has been wanting to retire, ladies and gentlemen.
No, I have not. I've not been discussing my retirement.
Yeah, hopefully we don't get Caleb to retire soon because we need all the money we are getting from this podcast. This is my life job, so.
It's not my life job yet. Will be by episode 7, though. I'm going to quit my job.
That shows his commitment, ladies and gentlemen. Moving on to an actual topic that matters. Let's go back to NBA. The players and the NBA are hoping to maintain a salary cap of around 109 million and 132 million for salary tax cap. How do you feel about that, Caleb? We've seen the NBA drop salaries after a lockout. The salary cap has dropped before, but we haven't seen a pandemic before. This is the first time we've seen a pandemic in the NBA, and they said that they're trying to expand it out so the salary cap doesn't drop. What I saw was that they were going to keep the cap the same every year for like a few years. And I don't know what that's going to do to the future of teams because teams are used to salary caps going up. So these contracts are going up. How do you think that's going to affect these current contracts? And how do you think that's going to affect, for example, free agency this year?
I think teams are going to be more money savvy when it comes to free agents this year, especially this year, because they don't have a definitive answer on what the cap's going to do. So I think you're going to see a bunch of big name players have to take 1-year deals. I mean, luckily this free agent class isn't as strong as previous classes and future classes are, but I could definitely see like a biggish name player just saying, I got to take a 1-year deal and just see what's there for me after this year.
Yeah, I think a lot of players are going to take 1-year deals because no NBA team is willing to give long-term contracts anymore. That was one of the biggest rumors this past summer, or I guess you could say off season, that a lot of owners are not willing to pay players these large contracts. I mean, we've seen, for example, Gordon Hayward was still getting paid at that level early in his contract. That would be really hard for the Celtics to get rid of. Fortunately for the Celtics, he's on his last year, but that is a tough contract to swallow. So I don't know who's going to want to take that. But there's a lot of contracts like that in the NBA, and I think we'll see a lot of 1-year deals, as Caleb mentioned. On top of that, a significant portion of the 25% salary that the players just withheld during the past bubble, I guess they're going to give it back. So, hey, check the mail. If you're an NBA player, you're about to get your money back. Must be nice, huh?
Yeah, it must be nice to get 25% of $40 million back.
How much is 25% of how much did we make off the last podcast? How much is 25% of zero?
We owe them 0.25.
I need to talk to my lawyer about this.
Moving on, did you hear that the Pelicans are talking about trading Drew Holiday?
Yeah, I actually just found that out yesterday. The Pelicans are looking at some trades for Drew Holiday. They're interested in getting, I would guess, younger pieces back, and I think draft picks. Caleb, if you're an NBA team, which NBA team do you think would trade for him, and what do you think they'll give up for a guy like Drew Holiday at this stage of his career?
I could so totally see the Miami Heat trading Kendrick Nunn and a second-round pick for him. I'm kidding. That's what Heat fans are saying on Twitter. Realistically, I could see the Nets going for him. I wouldn't be shocked to see the Nets go for him. They have a bunch of young pieces, and I'm assuming they want to put another star next to Kyrie and KD.
That's actually a really good fit. I did not really think that the Nets were even in play, but I would actually say the Clippers.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, that's a good one because
I
they
think
need
the
a guard.
Clippers. You got a lot of talent on that team. On top of the fact that Montrezl Harrell will be leaving,
Yeah,
so when you have that type of a roster, I think you can get a trade where you can get a guy like Drew. Kawhi did say he wanted a point guard, so I think that fit with Kawhi Leonard would be really well, and I think the fit with Paul George would work as well too.
for sure.
All right, guys. That's it. That wraps it up for us. We're not done here, though. Now we get to the fun of it. So if you stuck with us, we appreciate you. If you forwarded to this point, I hate you because you completely ignored everything we just did. We put in a bunch of work for you guys. So please, please, please listen. If you didn't listen, I get it. You're waiting for the NBA player. You want to hear who we have on. Now I want you guys to check out our interview with a former NBA player. He played with players like Giannis, like Steph. He has a world championship. He has played in all over the world. Let's get straight to it.
And now we are joined by our very special guest, Ekpe Udoh, former NBA player, EuroLeague champion. He's got a great career. Amir, is there anything you want to add on to it?
We're super excited to have you on today, Ekpe. Ekpe, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. How are y'all doing?
We're doing good as well.
It's an honor to have you on.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Appreciate
Ekpe,
it.
where are you right now?
Currently, I'm in Miami. Just got done really working out with Royce and making sure my nephew, who goes to school at University of Miami, is locked in for whatever season they may have.
Okay. How old is your nephew?
He's 19.
Oh, wow. Is he planning to hopefully make it to the NBA, or is he just trying to play overseas? What's his plan?
The highest level. Try to make it to the NBA, but got to be ready. He's gonna have the opportunities, but just got to be ready, mentally and physically.
For sure, and I'm sure there's no one better than yourself as a former NBA player and someone that's been played overseas and all around the world to, kind of help guide him and really get him there. I'm sure he's super grateful to have someone like you.
Oh, yeah, we've been blessed. It's a group of us that, whenever well, since he's our nephew, it's that's love already. But usually when we just try to wrap our village around the young man and help him to the best ability.
Again, I'm sure he's super grateful for that. And obviously you're helping him show like how to work out at a high level and the difference between the work ethic of really pushing yourself to get to that next level to where you have been. So I wanted to go back all the way to your college career. Again, you started off 2 years at Michigan and then you played 1 year at Baylor. You were labeled as a monster really in college, especially at the defensive end. You were the Big 12 leading shot blocker in 2012 and you were the Big 12 all defensive team. What was that like to, kind of be the big man on campus and at the same time play at two different schools? Because you played at a very highly regarded school in Michigan as well as Baylor, and a lot of people didn't get to experience playing at two different colleges. So what was that experience like, and why did you choose to go to Baylor instead of maybe declaring or staying another year at Michigan?
Well, I was never the big man on campus. I was low key, more quiet. University of Michigan was a great time. Detroit has since become my second home. Just from my 2 years there, I was able to build up some great tribe members and keep pushing. But University of Michigan was great for me 1 year. We made a push, almost made the tournament, but didn't. Coach got fired. That following year, John Beeline came in. We had a bad year, a down year. That I decided to transfer to Baylor. For me, I wanted to transfer to another high major because I still wanted to show that I can play. It's just that the fit wasn't right when Coach Beeline came in. Don't get me wrong, he's a great coach. It just didn't fit. Just didn't fit me.
Of course, no, that definitely makes a lot of sense. Especially at the college level, you see a lot of these young players, they get into a system that maybe doesn't fit them. Or even in situations we've seen, for example, players that will go to Syracuse and, we see that 2-3 zone defense and how they can kind of blend in and really hide on the defensive end. And it especially in the college level, I feel like college players kind of are able to hide their weaknesses because coaches do so well at doing that. But at the same time, you want to be playing.
For sure. And it worked out well for me. Went to Baylor, sat out a year, great coaching staff, was able to really work on my game that year off, and then come back that following year. And, we made a run. Lead 8, lost to the national champions in Duke. Then I was able to declare. For me, I couldn't have declared for Michigan. I wasn't in that space. I mean, of course I could have, but I don't think I would have gave myself the best chance to continue to grow. So by going to Baylor, sitting out that year, I definitely allowed myself to grow and learn more. And then, like I said, we went on a great run. It was a great team. And then I was able to go 6 to the Warriors.
Hey, that was a great college career. You did mention going 6 to the Warriors, but you did miss a ton of time with the left wrist injury, and that included Summer League. What would you say the most difficult part was about missing so much of that rookie year?
Man, just reaching your dreams and then it coming to a stop or to a pause. You usually look forward to that first time playing summer league. I've never played summer league. It's kind of crazy.
Really?
Yeah, because after my first year, the second year, I believe there was a lockout. And
Oh, wow.
Lockout, that was over with. And then after that third year, I was over it. So being out with that injury definitely hurt. But it happens. It's a game of basketball. It's got to bounce back.
You were lucky enough to be on the same team as someone like Steph, who was in his second year. I wanted to ask you, what was that kind of like to play with someone like Steph? And did you see him having the route that he has till this day? I mean, obviously, we've seen the MVPs, the champions, and the fact that he's probably one of the best point guards of all time. Did you see him becoming that player at such a young age?
Steph is a one in a generation type player. While I was there, he was dealing with injuries, like everybody knows. But his ability to shoot the ball, to me, he's the best shooter of all time, and still has more years to play. And his belief in himself, that goes a long way. His dad played ball as well, so you could see it. He just wasn't healthy. Just like he showed numerous flashes, but then he would go down with the injury. So once he figured that out, got his ankles together, he shot to the moon, and he's still going up.
Yeah, he had a tough injury last year, but I think he's looking at having a big year this year. With all the talk about people saying the Warriors are done and,
they're going to bounce right back. Clay's back healthy. He's back healthy. Draymond's there. Wiggins. Who do you think y'all draft?
He's big on the draft. He's been doing a lot of research on it. Caleb, what are you thinking?
I want to see him draft LaMelo because I feel like LaMelo underneath Steph. I'm not saying he'll ever be the same shooter because I know overseas shooting was kind of a weakness for him, but that play style with Golden State, I feel like it could be really fun.
Okay, so you want?
But I could also see them going big, man.
And going for Wiseman.
Yeah.
Whoever they add, they're coming under the tutelage of some Hall of Fame players, so they'll be able to adjust and continue to make a run towards the championship.
Moving on to your team after the Warriors, you eventually were traded to Milwaukee, and you played there for 2 years. Mm-hmm. One of them was with Giannis in his rookie year, right?
Correct.
What did you see anything in his development that gave you a sign that he could reach this level ever?
Well, me and one of my best friends, we've had this discussion because back then I said he would be an MVP level player just because he's so long. He was still growing, his strides, as you know. But I didn't see his body filling out as quick as he has. Now he has to take that next step. Being I don't know how. I really don't know. I guess being more so of a closer.
Yeah.
Being able to get to his spots and make a tough shot. I think that's what's going to take him and whatever team he's on to that next level.
Do you see Giannis fitting with the Bucks long term, or do you see that kind of being like an Anthony Davis situation where they give a lot of their time and their years to an organization, but sometimes it just doesn't work out, especially in small markets where it's difficult to attract another superstar? I know the Bucks are trying to they're trying to land a superstar,
I
or
think
even like another player.
I don't even think they need that. I think it's all on Giannis. I think for Giannis to be that superstar player, he's going to have to win games in the fourth quarter. I don't believe he needs to go anywhere else to join a superstar. I mean, he's in the East. They had finished with the best record, but in the playoffs, things slow down. Teams, lock in more, pay attention more. So I think it's on him to continue to get in the lab and become that player in the fourth quarter and be able to make those tough shots to get their team over the hump. And then, of course, they're going to do jobs. Their front office is going to get players. But I don't know if Giannis necessarily just needs another superstar. Because if he does, that superstar is going to be a guard. And, the superstar guards, they are in a different realm right now.
Again, that's a tough situation for Milwaukee to be in because they have to decide what they're going to do with Giannis. And, he's, again, one of the most talented players in the league, one of the most talented players we've seen in a while. And speaking of talented players, you also played with the very talented Clippers team after your stint with the Bucks. And you got to play with a very talented coach in Doc Rivers. I'm sure you've seen all the hate Doc has gotten recently, especially on Twitter. You know how Twitter gets, they get all wild on you, especially nowadays where everything is kind of in a microcosm. People look at you in every aspect, and Doc has been criticized a lot for his 3-1 collapses. At the same time, he is a Hall of Fame coach. More importantly, I would say he's very highly regarded with the players. I don't know, you can speak more on that, but what do you see with Doc's fit in Philly? Do you see the fit being there, or do you see Joel and Ben not really getting along with him? How do you see that working out?
I don't know. I think that's what everybody's thinking. We've heard of turmoils or rumors, but I think Doc will have his hands full. But at the same time, like you say, he's a great coach, so he'll be able to figure it out. They're in the Eastern Conference, so that gives him, a better chance to make that run. It's unfortunate what happened with them against who they lose to, Denver. Yeah, a young core, two dynamic players. I think he'll be able to figure it out. I hope he is able to figure it out because that can be a very exciting team if he does.
For sure.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the 76ers core. Even though I'm a Celtics fan, I do enjoy watching Embiid.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on, you played with a lot of talented players, as we mentioned before. That was Steph and Giannis. Later on in your career, you did play with the Jazz, and that was with Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell. Who was your favorite teammate, or was it just a player that really impacted your career?
I have a few. A couple of my favorite teammates, Jamal Crawford. I really appreciated him. Kyle Korver, great teammate. Joe Ingles, great teammate, funny guy. Let me see, who else?
Does Joe Ingles talk a lot on the court? I've heard he talks a lot of mess on the court.
It just depends. Something has to happen he's not just out here just talking.
Oh, okay.
He has to go at him. But yeah, he's up there. Donovan, Royce. I've been blessed with a lot of really good teammates. Darrell Wright, Monte Ellis. I still have. I'm still able to have conversations with these people till this day. Marquise Daniels, which is my guy. Yes, sir.
You finished playing with the Clippers in 2014-15. Then you decided to go overseas and play. You were selected as a 2-time All-EuroLeague team selection, and you led your team to a title. You won the Final Four MVP in the process. What's it like to leave the NBA and to go play in a foreign country where it's a different cultural experience?
Yes.
And what was it like to play in front of those fans? And we do hear a lot about how those fans are very loud.
Can you tell us how to say the team name?
Fenerbahce.
Fenerbahce. Okay, that's a lot easier. Caleb and I were trying to get it all night last night, and we were like, we don't want to botch it.
I want to hear a couple of the ways y'all said it.
Honestly, I used to watch you with Bogey a lot. So whenever I would call him, I was ignorant to it. I'd be like, oh, Fender Bands. This looked like Fender Bands to me. But I was like, I knew that was not even close. I just was like, I'm not even going to try it because I'm going to botch it.
Right. That's understandable. So I would say Fenerbahce, my time in Istanbul was the best time of my life because it was like a changing point for me and everything that was going on in the world. To go from the Clippers team where I didn't play at all, out of the league, and then to go find success for Fenerbahce, that was an incredible time. Was able, like you said, to win. I won every title you could win in Europe. We did it at a high level. We had a really good team. Like we brought up Bogey, Gigi Daytoni, Bobby Dixon, Jan Vesley, Pero Antic. So I mean, we had a good team, and we were coached by Obradovic, who was, he's one of the greatest coaches of all sports. Very tough coach, very very hard nosed coach, but a really good guy, really good guy. The fans, the fans are like nothing you've ever seen. Try to combine college football with what else sports is rowdy. So college football and bring in like the NBA championship. And add something to that.
Yeah. I've seen videos of in the crowd after they win championships where people are just going insane. They let people like light stuff on fire because it's not like in America where it's rioting. It's kind of like their version of celebrating.
Yeah, it is dangerous. Yes, it is. But it's all in good fun. It sometimes it goes over the line. Like when you have fans throwing stuff on the court, hitting players. This is danger to the game. But in their own right, they are really a good bunch of fans. Very intense games. Like for in Europe, every game means something to them. It's not like we just had a rough stretch. We might lose this one and keep it moving. No, every game means something. And if you start losing, more than likely you're gonna start running. So it's a tough balance. But I had a great time there.
As a place where you felt like you really found your home, and it's kind of a comfort zone, I would say, for you at that time. Because like you said, you were able to get minutes. Caleb and I were watching some videos of the fans out there, and they were obsessed with seeing you and wanting to get pictures. What was that experience like, kind of leaving somewhere like Turkey where you felt so inclusive and you had so much success in your career, and then you deciding to go back to the NBA and play for the Jazz, even though you were putting up, like we said, crazy numbers, you're getting accolade after accolade. Why did you decide to do that, and how was that experience? Was it difficult to leave?
Well, I think in anything in life, you want more. So even though I had, my best playing time, I wanted more. I still wanted to go back for the challenge, playing in the NBA against the best players for the most part in the world. Why not want to take that challenge? Like I said, I won everything in Europe. I just felt like it was a good opportunity. Didn't go the way I envisioned it going, but at the same time, I'm not mad at it. I still gave it a try. This is where I'm at. But winning in Turkey was great. When especially the club we played for, because it's such a big club in Europe. So wherever you go, you will be noticed. They take it to that extent, even more so when you play football there. It's probably you need security to move around. But it was good, man. It was a good time just to see the work that we put in and it all come together at the end. Because the season we won it all, we struggled throughout the season just with like injuries and, the process, the grind of going, doing everything the right way the whole season. But, at the end, everybody, even though we had a down season, teams knew that if we figured it out, it would be a problem. We did.
I also saw you talk about the coach. You just mentioned how you thought he was a very good coach, and I believe this was at a time that a lot of people were criticizing him. What was that like, kind of being under a coach like him, who you said he's very tough, but at the same time, he's a very highly regarded coach that you really appreciate and love to this day? As a coach myself, I kind of want to just get some insight on what you look for as a player in the coach and how he was to you when you were there.
Well, for me, I think the only time he got a bad rap is when he was very intense. So, if we were messing up, his face would get bright red, and like when you see that, if you're not familiar with it, it might throw you off a little bit. But he's so anal on small details, and I think that's what makes him such a great coach, as well as his his offensive game plan, and defensively he's different. Usually teams try to force you to the baseline, but he forces to the middle. So he was every day before practice he'd sit down while we would do whatever, get ready, and he would just draw plays every day. It never failed. And then we go to work, and that's why he's won 10, 11 championships, EuroLeague championships.
Wow.
He's definitely special.
You played under Mark Jackson in Golden State. We see a lot of the Golden State players from that time. They give a lot of credit to him for laying the groundwork on the defensive end, but he doesn't seem to be getting looks whenever new head coaching jobs come up. Do you have any idea why he's not getting the looks?
They had a whole situation going on there, and that might be the reason why. You would think he would have gotten another chance by now, but I can't really speak to that.
For sure. Obviously, that's a difficult situation. So you're not in Beijing right now, correct?
No, sir. We finished the season August 2nd. We lost in the semifinals.
Okay. So you got to play with the Beijing Ducks this past season. They've had guys like Steve Francis and Stephon Marbury and currently Jeremy Lin, correct? He's still there?
No, he's not. He's back.
Oh, he's back.
We did play together. We finished the season together.
Oh, okay. Okay. So he was there with you guys this season. But at the time, I remember there were rumors that you wanted to go back to the EuroLeague and ultimately didn't. What made you decide to go that route and play in somewhere like China? And again, that's somewhere that I feel like is very against the grain, that you're going outside your country where the culture is completely different, kind of like a lot like actually Istanbul. What was that like to play in China, and how different was it from your other stops that you've had in the past?
Well, just something different, a different experience. And yeah, I went with it. It was definitely interesting. It's not it's not like the NBA. It's not like Europe. It's not like wherever else. It's its own league. It was cool though. I mean, I wish we would have been able to win a championship. That would have made up for some time. Because 2020 has been it's been a gift and a curse around the world. So.
You played in China during the year of a pandemic. How was that experience being there while there was a situation going on? And obviously in America we were a little bit behind. So were you guys a little bit more cautious, or how was that?
Well, I mean, it's two different societies. You know what I mean? And you're seeing that in the amount of cases and deaths in America. But it was I don't know, it was normal, I would say, for them. Wear a mask. With that society that they live in, when they come down with an order, you're going to follow it, or a mandate, you're going to follow it. Period. It's more about looking after the country. I feel like in the States, it's more individualistic.
Yeah.
So with that being said, we're out and about and whatnot, fighting over masks, politicizing it. So now look at where we are. Still, numbers still going up, all over the place. Hopefully we come up with a plan at some point so we'll be able to move forward.
Also, I wanted to get to, like you mentioned, you played for China, you played in Istanbul, you played in the NBA. You've been able to experience a lot more than most people can say, whether it's traveling, whether it's playing in different countries, experiencing different cultures. I think a lot of people would love to experience those things. What ended up being your favorite stop, or maybe the best stop of your career that you were able to experience?
Um, I would say Istanbul. My first time really outside of the country to play and live. I lived probably by myself for a couple of months, and I had somebody come stay with me. But yeah, I just feel like that was a change in my life, like more so off the court. Just seeing the world, seeing the different cultures, seeing the religion of Islam. With, and I guess at that time, it was this whole Muslim bashing, how the media was trying to portray it. Once you actually get there and get in the culture, you see how beautiful it is. And then you start to question, what you grew up on. And then, I'm a big reader, so that's when I really took my reading to another level with the book club and just historical and recreational reads.
Yeah, we saw that. We saw you have that hashtag Ekpe's Book Club. What are some of your favorite books you read this year?
Man, listen, y'all should join, man. Give us a try. Just why not?
Caleb has a book for you. We were talking about this last night. I was not as prepared as him, but
let me grab it.
Say less. Please go grab it. Caleb, come on, stop playing.
Tell us more about your book club, Ekpe. What made you decide to start it, and when did you really get into books?
So I grew up not really into books. Even though my dad, my parents are Nigerian, so they really push education. I did enough to get by. Basketball was my thing. But we would go to the library or whatever, me and my sisters with my dad. But I really started reading like around 24, 25. I started with the Bible and then branched off to different things because the same best friend I mentioned earlier, talking about Giannis, he would always send me like articles and recommend books for me to read, and I would just tell him, paraphrase it for me. But then I actually started to lock in and started reading. And then when I was in Milwaukee, I wanted to do something unique to interact with fans. And, why not read it? It's good for you. And it would bring people together. So I've had it for now 8 years, and it's like I've built small communities wherever I've been. And even took it to Istanbul with me. So it's been a blessing. Got a shout out from Michelle Obama. So that was dope. The club was definitely hype about that. But yeah, and we're still pushing. I think we are 58 books down since inception. And, we probably go at a one book a month pace, depending on where I'm at in the world.
For sure. The book I'm reading is from a African author, and it's a book of, it's We Should All Be Feminists. And I think as a man, it's important to have your eyes open to different things that you might not face versus what they face. It really opens your eyes and lets you see a whole new light in terms of the way the world is.
Correct. No, I think we read a book by her. That's actually that's good. I'm glad you are reading. Is it good so far?
Yeah, I actually finished it like probably 2 weekends ago.
Okay.
But I need to find what's next.
Hey, Mr. Amir, have you read that book?
No, I have not.
I would like for you to read that book, please. Thank you.
I got you. Because you came on this podcast, I will make that happen for you.
My man. But some of my favorite books have been, we read Where the Crawdads Sing. That was a really good one. We are in a book right now called Anxious People. That's been good humor. It's been solid. 2020, what else have we read? I don't even know. If I read so many books in between them, it all goes together.
Have you read The Alchemist?
That's one of my personal favorite books.
Oh, okay. My sister gave me that book, and I still haven't read it. I need to get onto it. She's proud if she is.
Amir, what's going on right now, man?
I don't know. That's why I had to get you on, Ekpe. I need to get my knowledge up. I need to start reading more.
Well, listen. Once you get your knowledge up, you're gonna see the world a little different. So I'm all for it.
That is factual. What is kind of something that you would share with, again, our younger generation? For myself and Caleb, we're both 23. So we're a little bit on the cusp of not really being in a young generation. Speaking more of this younger generation, as far as teenagers and these college kids and even younger, how do they really deal with this? What is something that you would kind of say as far as how do we take that next step as one to get to that level where we're not, where we are today?
Well, I believe to really read and understand the history of United States of America, and then be able to have conversations amongst each other, and then take a step further and check your friends or family associates when they step out of line. And I think that'll begin to to open us up for some type of healing. But until then, it's just going to continue the way it is. I mean, nothing has changed.
I feel like it's a lot harder for maybe us to see. For example, someone like me, I'm in California. I don't really see it as much as far as maybe you have seen it a little bit more since you've been in, around the world. It's a little bit more of a perspective, which is kind of why we wanted to ask you, because Caleb, he lives in Pennsylvania. I live in California, so we don't get to see too much outside of our own bubble.
Right.
But Caleb himself, I mean, he's in Pennsylvania. He lives in a place where he maybe not doesn't share the same, ideologies as people around him. But it's almost good to see other people so then you can understand yourself and kind of hopefully give them an understanding. They can maybe see someone like Caleb and see how he's younger and how his mindset is a lot more progressive and forward thinking than maybe other people and how they should be. Caleb?
Correct. And I think it's okay to disagree. That is fine. It's okay to have different ideologies. I just think that you have to be able to be patient, listen, and build from that. We got to start wherever we meet that person at, and then build. We can't just feel like we know it all because the other person may not have been exposed to it. So I just think, continue to educate yourself. Whatever you learned in school, question it, and then, do your own research.
For sure. Moving back to basketball, in 2019, you were selected to play for the Nigerian national basketball team in the 2020 Olympics, but obviously with the pandemic, it got pushed back to 2021. What was that feeling like when you received the news that you were selected to play, and do you plan on playing in next year's Olympics?
So the World Cup was fun. That's one thing I look back in life and wish I would have done sooner. Playing with the Nigerian national team, and it was great. I mean, it was great to represent the country, especially the country that the family is from, and then learning more. Now, 2020. Once Corona hit, you pretty much had to chalk everything up. Understand that the Olympics are it's a big event, and if you don't have fans, it's not really. It won't be an advantage for the country or Japan. Won't do won't do them right. I'll say. So we look forward to 2021. We'll see what happens. We have AfroBasket qualifiers coming up at the end of this month in Rwanda. So go play, get ready, gear up, and see what we can do in the Olympics.
Do you have any events you want to go to? I know a lot of players always talk about, I really want to watch this event when I go to the Olympics next year. Do you have something that you've never watched in person that maybe you would like to see?
I mean, no, not really. I just want to go see track. I may know a couple of track people that will attend. That's it. Maybe tennis. But if not anything, it'd be basketball. I'm cool. I'm content with just watching hoops.
Ekpe, are you wearing a brand shirt or?
No, this is Fear of God. This is
Okay.
no. But if I do rep a brand, it's the Flourish brand. It's my brother James Billings' brand out of Oklahoma. You can go. Flourish is spelled FLUR $H. So Flourish brand, theflourishbrand.com for any of his apparel. And you know, I'm just on the whole wave of just wearing my friends' creations. I don't know Mr. Lorenzo, but you know, fear of God is a staple in the fashion industry.
For sure. Do you have any other brands or current things you're planning on doing right now besides your book club, or is it really just focusing on your book club right now?
Just book club and showing people love, giving people their roses while they're here. IG, I usually post about different brands or different thoughts or different people. So just, you know, just trying to give people their flowers while they're here. Because, man, we've seen in this 2020 life is getting taken left and right.
Speaking of that, we appreciate you for being super flexible with us too.
Yeah.
I was gonna text you the night before because my grandma was in the hospital, so I was gonna be like, sorry, I'm not able to do that. But luckily, she's been doing a lot better, and hopefully, she continues to recover. But like you said, man, this year it's just been hitting out like just whirlwind after whirlwind. It's been really rough.
Right. Yes, it has. I hope she gets better. But at the same time, it's been a year of reflection and a year of progress for some people. If you're able, if you're able to get in that wave in building, especially going forward, because Corona might be here for the long haul.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even speaking of that, that's something that I feel like in the beginning of quarantine, it was difficult to really understand how, you can kind of move forward from this and improve yourself and work on yourself. But I feel like a lot of us have done that. And Caleb and I started doing stock investments about like a few months ago. And that's something that's been really, it's been really interesting and exciting to kind of dive into. Do you have any current investments or future investment ideas, maybe after you
All of the above.
retire?
All of the above. Real estate, stocks, learning about options, venture, capital. I've been fortunate. I've been blessed. So
Have you twiddled with options at all?
A little bit. It's like I have to go through it to really understand.
Yeah.
It can be lucrative, but it can be bloody at the same time.
Yeah, that's like they talk about it's like the most volatile thing. It's
Right.
you can make a lot of money, you can you can lose a ton of money.
Yeah, so I'm more so for myself. I'll do a little day trading on the side.
Okay.
I have brokers who handle my main portfolio, but I like to think I know what I'm doing from time to time. So I have a question for y'all. How did y'all meet?
Caleb, you want to tell him?
I see the way Caleb smiles, so I'm looking forward to this.
Well, obviously he's a Kings fan and I'm a Celtics fan, and we met on Twitter because I was a big Marvin Bagley fan whenever he was getting drafted. And whenever he got drafted, I said, all right, I want to connect with some Kings fans and, learn more about the team, because I feel like the Kings are like a kept secret. They're just kind of pushed to the side. And so we started talking. This is 2018. So we started talking, and then we decided like over the past couple of months, we're like, hey, let's just start a basketball podcast, because he's a basketball coach and I was supposed to make my basketball coaching debut this year, but COVID happened. So pushed that back to next year. But we're able to connect on a basketball level. So we decided, hey, let's start a podcast. So here we are.
That's dope. That's great.
Yeah.
That's really good.
We'll let you go.
Join the book club.
Yeah. How do we join the book club?
Listen. I forgot to add that in. So follow me on Twitter at Ekpe Udoh. I think I have a character space on there, and I will tweet out a sign up link through Mailchimp, and from there I'll send emails about the discussion times, and the length of the book we'll read. And I usually send out about 30 books per book we select. And then usually every Thursday night we have a good time for about an hour 15. We actually have a discussion tonight, finishing The Anxious People. So I look forward to it, and man, hopefully I can get in on the next or the following book.
Yeah.
For sure. We'll be keeping up on your Instagram to find out when the next one is, because I need to start reading books, Ekpe.
On Twitter. So all the discussions are held on Twitter. I just post the book club just so people know that we still out here getting to it.
For sure. I'll turn on my post notifications.
Please do. I appreciate y'all, man. So y'all enjoy the rest of y'all's day. Actually, basketball immersion on YouTube, they really have some good stuff on basketball. Different offensive, defensive plays and such. Really good schemes. I've fallen into a liking of that page.
Mm-hmm. For sure. We'll check it out. Again, thank you, Ekpe. We appreciate you for coming on today and being on with us for so long. I didn't mean for it to be this long, but again, we appreciate you.
No, man, good conversation, man. I appreciate y'all. Peace.
For sure. All right, Ekpe, we'll talk to you soon. Hopefully we can keep in contact, and especially when we're doing the book club, we'll let you know how I'll let you know how my first book goes in a while.
Well, yeah, Alchemist, or We Should All Be Feminists. Something, please.
All right. I got you. I promise.
Y'all have a good one.
You too. Thank you guys for listening. We hope you appreciated our interview with Ekpe Udoh. Caleb, how did you feel about that one? That was exciting, man.
That was one of the funnest times I think I've had. And in recent, especially in 2020, that was a great time.
For sure. We got a lot of gems out of that. We hope you guys listened to it all. If you didn't, we'll have segments up on our YouTube page. Check out our YouTube page at Dimers Podcast. Check out our social medias at Dimers Podcast. It's at Dimers Podcast on everything. Check that out. Once again, thank you guys for listening. We appreciate all of you guys for your support. Please don't forget to give us a 5-star review. Please don't forget to tell people to listen to us. We're really trying to get ourselves out there. We really want to get this podcast to blow up, and we can't do it without your guys' support. So we're really excited that we got a former NBA player in Ekpe Udoh on today. Hopefully we'll get more NBA players. If you guys want more information on Ekpe, we'll have it down below in the link. Make sure you let us know if you're willing to join Ekpe's book club. We'll drop the link for you guys. Caleb, you gonna join his book club?
Oh, for sure. I can't wait. I've always wanted to get more into reading. It's always been like a fun way just to get away from everything.
I really need to get more into reading, but I haven't because, as you guys heard in the interview, I haven't read in a while. So Ekpe is gonna help me out with that.
For sure. We really do appreciate Ekpe coming on and talking today. We really hope you guys enjoyed it. That was a lot of fun.
For sure. Once again, we'll see you guys next week at the Dimers Podcast. We're coming out with the draft specials up soon. That should be out in about 2 weeks. But our next episode will be reviewing the NBA votes and how everything went and any other news we can have for you guys. So stay tuned. We will be having more guests on. We're hopefully getting you guys another guest for our draft special. So stay tuned for that. And catch us back right here at the Dimers Podcast. Catch y'all later. Peace. And you just be like, today we're going to be talking about some NBA news. And
All right.
All right, ready?
Welcome back to the Diamond.
Hey, yo.